we might have another tricky situation of an art contest that was hosted and never delivered upon. So this is a document that was published that we're going to be looking through, going back and forth between the tweets. This involves a creator by the name of Euphoria who goes by the handle Euphoria Plays. Just want to add, first off, do not send hate to anybody. Okay, I have to keep saying it. Don't do that. Secondly, there's like multiple people with this name. So just know that. Do not send hate to anybody. There are always cases when people have similar names or people assumed like somebody else did it when it wasn't. So yeah, anyways. They hit 1.5 thousand followers. Congrats, yippee, big milestone. And they hosted an art contest May 24th, 2025 with an end date of August 1st to draw their design. And she didn't really receive any art for this contest. There was 2 weeks left. She was like curious if the prize pool wasn't appealing, why there weren't any entries, and the OP of this document, Aquito, we'll be calling them Ak, they were the first entry July 20th, 2025. So the contest was extended till September 1st, just due to the lack of entries. And then on September 2nd, so the contest should have ended, they put up a Twitter poll asking, should I extend the deadline? Should I not? The poll lost. 67% of people voted to keep the deadline. And then, even though the result lost, they extended the deadline again to now November 1st at midnight. There are like debates like, is a creator allowed to extend the contest, not allowed? Like I've hosted contests, not art contests, but like other contests. Sometimes it happens, people submit really last minute and they're like, can I please get an extension? So normally I kind of like build it into the schedule. I kind of expect people to ask for an extension and I'll give like a 1 day or like a little couple hours extension, something like that. If you do host a contest, you didn't get enough entries, people commonly will extend it. Seeing an extension from August to November, so September, October, it's basically being extended 3 whole extra months. Not really common to see an extension this long. But then they put out this tweet September 5th, basically stating, oh, if you're questioning the legitimacy of my contest, don't join. It's my first time hosting one. I see people do extensions all the time. I don't want to ruin my credibility as a creator, unlike many illegitimate contests. I have a backing and an amazing community. I understand eyes are on me for proof, and there will be people waiting to write anything about me. Drama farming equals immediate block. The issue with the content creator sphere is the folks who act as if they're reporters on the first line. Anything to get them views. They'll do and say, people become desperate and try to stir the pot. Mind your own business, don't be selfish, and let others enjoy what they enjoy. Sure, fair point, right? Potentially there was some discourse online maybe about like, oh, is it like okay for you to extend the deadline, da-da-da-da-da. People extend the deadline for contests all the time. 3 months is a long extension, but So then comes the drama between the contest holder and the person who made the document, which again is this user by the name of Ak, and Ak says, and this was a viral post that got like 1.1 thousand likes. If you see Euphoria using this art piece, she is stealing my art. I made this piece for free for her and have revoked usage due to her lying to me in DMs and her actions that have made me uncomfortable. I asked politely in DMs for her not to use it, to no avail. And this was their entry, the first entry to the contest, and this art piece is absolutely gorgeous. This is so cute. And another person had asked for clarification, what made you uncomfortable? The extension? If you submitted this officially for a contest, why do this now? And Ak replied, an extension of a deadline by 1 month and then another for 2 months. She posted a message saying if people felt uncomfortable, they should not join. I felt uncomfortable, so I wanted to revoke my art. She then proceeded to lie to me in DMs when asking to remove my art submission. In the DM, it isn't shown in the screenshot, but we can see their reply. They had basically asked to revoke their submission to the contest. And Euphoria's response was, hi, unfortunately, once a submission is made, you cannot revoke it. Heart. Currently, you're first place. Heart. This is my first time doing such, and I stated in my OG post that submissions cannot be revoked. And the doc adds that Euphoria had insisted there's a no revoking policy and doubles down. Potentially, this could be a situation where it's like an artist TOS thing. Sometimes there's a whole discourse online when artists have like a no refunds in their TOS where it says, no matter what, you can't refund even if I didn't start the work. And the artist will be like, well, it's in my TOS and you're supposed to read it. So now that you commission me, even if you want a refund, you can't because it says so here. And this argument, I feel like breaks down into 2 arguments. 1, is it ethical to have clauses like this in general? And 2, if you do have a clause like this, then should it be abided by, right? So first off, having a straight up no refunds clause. People are split on this take. Some artists are like, well, it is in my TOS and you as a client should read it. And if you don't like it, don't sign it. Personally, I disagree with a no bars, no refund clause. I think refunds should be allowed if it is a case where you didn't start the work, you didn't do anything, then you lost nothing by refunding the money. The only case really where I see people don't want to do this is because they use the money already for something. Like if somebody commissioned you for $100 for an art piece, you spent the $100 on something. Well, I see in cases like this that people would put a no refund because they don't actually have the money because they already spent it. So they can't give you a refund. In my opinion, you shouldn't spend money this way because it's essentially living paycheck to paycheck. And you see artists fall into this system of frauding people intentionally or unintentionally because they set themselves up in a system of failure where they are spending money they don't have, and then for reasons somebody might want to like get a refund and now they don't have the money. Again, if you are put in a situation like this that is no fault of your own, I really sympathize with you because that absolutely sucks. And it sucks that like as creatives, as artists, it's really hard to make money nowadays. If you are in a position to be more financially flexible with how you are using your money, I really do not recommend spending money for a service that wasn't completed. So that is the first debate, right? Is it ethical to have a clause like this? In a case of an art contest, is it ethical to have a no revoking clause in your art contest so that once somebody submits it, they can't take the art back? Do you think that's ethical? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. And again, please be respectful, don't send hate. Personally, do not think it's ethical to do that for the reason that you lost nothing, because this is an art contest hosted where people entered for free. I do think this is valid if the person won a prize, as in they won cash for first, second, third, or whatever, and you paid them and then they wanted to revoke it. Well, exchange was made for the service, right? You paid them cash for their first place prize. Now I think it's fair to say no refunds because that was done. But in a case where the contest wasn't concluded yet and somebody was asking to revoke the artwork, I think that is fair to offer because you didn't lose anything, right? You didn't pay them anything yet. You didn't give them any money yet. You said they were in the running for first. They didn't win yet. So I think it should be fair to revoke. Now, this is this person's very first time hosting an art contest. So maybe this is a case where they didn't know. This is unintentionally sounding a little scammy. So there is that benefit of doubt. But the second thing is there is the argument, well, no matter what, whether you think it's ethical or not, it's in the TOS and you saw and you agreed to it by working with me. So now I'm dusting my hands of this. If you agree with this, it doesn't apply in this case. The rules are listed in this initial graphic, which look to have been posted May 24th, 2025. The graphic says deadline is August 1st, which the host changed the deadline. So, okay, that's a complete side note, but you as a host are allowed to change the rules for the contest, but then other people aren't allowed to like ask for revoke. But secondly, posts must be tagged, no AI, artwork can be anything, chibi to full body. Outfit rules must be shown in an outfit that the character already has, light NSFW is okay. There is actually no rule here that says you cannot revoke. So even if we disagree on the point of is it ethical to have it, yes or no, regardless of that, if you agree on the, okay, well, if you saw it in the rules, you basically agreed to it by submitting to this contest, right? That you're bound by it. It doesn't actually exist in the rules. So no matter which side you fall on, it doesn't actually play out that way. And then again, the doc has a fuller screenshot of the rules where you can see no revoking is not in the rules. The host had changed their message. They wrote, it's quote retweeted and it was on my site. So their card, and if you don't know what a card is like a one-page website you can make. I was as nice as possible as I could be. And then they continued to add, the rules extend to my site, which I stated in a quote retweet. I do feel like this isn't particularly fair because that was also not mentioned, right? Again, in the post, we've reached 1.5K, contest ends August 1st. All artists who join will be included in my card, BRB ending screen with credits. There's no mention of a look at my card for more information. That just isn't there. And then, okay, so then in the comment section, there is no comment to say, look at the card for more rules. If you look at the quote retweets, there's no quote that says, look at my card for more rules. So either you're lying or maybe you're genuinely just confused because you hosted the contest so long ago in May that you just forgot that you maybe never posted about it. In this case, if one, you don't have an additional website with more rules, and two, it was not information that was easily accessible in the original page where you are advertising this contest, you can't hold somebody to it. A rule that doesn't exist, essentially, right? That's just not fair. I can't go and host an art contest and then I make a little website, and at the very bottom, I put all art can now be used by me for commercial usage. And then quote retweet it later and be like, oh, well, because you guys entered, it's on this website at the very bottom. You didn't see it, but now you have to abide by my rules. That's not how that works. Benefit of doubt, though, this person is new to hosting contests, so maybe they just aren't familiar with how this is not typically how it's held. And again, people in the comments of Ock's viral post was basically kind of like coming for them, being like, oh, like you jumped to conclusions thinking they're a scammer and you felt uncomfortable and now you're like spreading lies. And Ock basically said, no, extending a deadline by 3 months when making a poll asking people if it should be extended, then disregarding the results, because again, the results said no, made me uncomfortable. There have been plenty of scams in art contests. There is reason to feel discomfort. And they added, if I feel uncomfortable with a person, do I not have a right to revoke free art I made for them? I think this is perfectly reasonable to revoke art. It is unreasonable to claim I cannot revoke free art due to rules that do not exist. If there's a screenshot of the rules posted at the time of the contest post, May 24th, where it says cannot revoke, and it's easy to find, publicly available without doing a lot of wormhole digging, then we could maybe argue a different point here. And the host had also responded saying, oh, a submission for my art contest for where the rules of my site state you may not revoke your submission, which again, I disagree with the rules are hidden in this other website that I will not link for you, and there is no quote retweet, even though I said there was. And yeah, please read all of somebody's rules and extended rules on their sites before joining a contest. Thank you. I extended this contest by a month due to folks rushing. Then another person replied stating, as far as I'm aware, not a lawyer, you are correct that Ock isn't allowed to revoke the submission, but couldn't they sue you for infringement depending on how you're using the piece? And you changing the deadline and creating an unfair competition. Then, before I had responded, I allowed them to revoke their submission. Everything was on my card, heart. The whole situation was out of control because I couldn't respond fast enough, unfortunately. This is my first time hosting one. I made mistakes, everyone does. And another commenter add, hi, not a lawyer or anything, but for this to be even remotely legally enforceable, you would need the terms to be visibly clear to all participants, and participants must explicitly agree to them. For example, checking a box or signing a form. Because yeah, like, it's hidden away on a website somewhere isn't gonna fly legally. It's not a lawyer though. And then Ock had also added, if you need to say you had no intention of getting free art by hosting an art contest, you're already in the wrong. Unless you're paying each contestant, you're getting free art and you know it. Paying an exposure doesn't count as paying for art. And this was like a comment that the host had put under one of their posts where they wrote, this contest was hosted to give smaller artists reach, give back to my community, and host something special. I want to rotate through the submissions and tag artists properly. I had no intent on getting free art. I have a job, I can commission artists I wish to acquire. And Euphoria had responded, is that an end goal here? Do you want me to pay you? Unfortunately, that wasn't my intention. Please stop fishing for issues. And Ock said, if I wanted you to pay me, I wouldn't have revoked my submission now, would I? I think this is just a really messy situation at this point because like, I can definitely see both sides to it. I can see how the host maybe in their head was like, oh yeah, this is going to give smaller artists reach, give back to the community so that my community can get some money. It'll be something special, yippee, yippee, yippee. The reality of the way art contests work like this, and it's always such a messy scenario because like there's always a lot of art contest drama, and it's largely because like people who host it, I don't blame them all the time. Sometimes they fail to predict like a fringe scenario that they don't know how to respond to because it's a very like one-off situation. A lot of times it's because they have no experience hosting an art contest and then they want to do one for like a marketing ploy because contests, will get you like more likes and clicks. People post pretty art of you and like you get more eyes on your design, whatever, right? So it's sometimes used as a marketing ploy. It's not a bad thing. It's just what happens. But they don't really know how to like manage a contest well. Like, to be honest, if you host an art contest, you are getting free art. Whether you intend to or not, the result is if you have more than 3 entries, there's going to be people that don't get paid. So therefore you got free art. That's just what's going to happen. You may not have intended for it to happen, but I don't know. Kind of hard for me to like reach this conclusion because you had a contest with no entries, with a deadline, and you extended the deadline to get more entries, right? If you ended the contest right there was only 1 entry, it was Ock, and Ock would have been paid the winning first place prize. Nobody else would have been paid because there's only 1 entry. You never got free art because you paid your 1 artist, right? So I feel like it's a little bit disingenuous. Maybe they're like kind of lying to themselves. Like they believe that like, deep down, maybe they didn't realize that partial intention they had for extending it was because they did want to get some more art. And then the art happens to be free because the way the contest works, there's only 3 winners, the way they hosted it. So yeah, you will get free art. And it always runs into a tricky scenario with the art contest, because whether this host intended to or not, most of the time with these contests, what happens is the person ends up with a bunch of free art they use, right? So let's say they had, like, hypothetically $400 and they want art. Well, the best way, not the most ethical, but the best way that people do publicly, in quotes, heavy quotes, to get the most art possible is to host an art contest. And they use that $400 as a prize pool. And then a bunch of people submit, and then they only pay out prizing for, like, the first place, the top two, the top three, whatever, right? Instead of, like, spending that $400, breaking it to 200, and commissioning 2 artists, you can take that $400 and get, like, a whole bunch of art. So then you run into the tricky scenario of using the art, because for the people that didn't win, if you use their art for commercial usage, so you put it on your Twitch stream because your stream is making you money if you are a Twitch affiliate or partner, or you put it on merch or something, you are now using a free piece of artwork for commercial profit. You may not have intended to do that, because maybe we could argue there's ignorance here because this is your first time hosting one, but that is what is going to be the end result. So the most ethical way to do an art contest is to host an art contest. You have a prize pool and you have it very clearly written out in the terms. You can enter this art contest. All art submitted is for personal use only, for you own the rights to it. And if you win first, second, or third, then I will have the rights to use it in a commercial setting in exchange for you receiving the prize pool, something like that. It's not just within the creator space, the VTuber space. Companies have done this, where they hosted art contests with a prize pool, and they had a clause that said, all submissions can be used for commercial usage, and those companies got canceled. It's not just oh no, I'm a creator, everyone's coming for me. Like, companies have gotten canceled on Twitter for doing the same thing, hosting an art contest and trying to, like, get as much art as possible to get a bunch of art for commercial usage. And again, using art on a Twitch stream is in a commercial sense, because your stream, if you are an affiliate or partner, you are profiting off of your Twitch stream. So again, it's very long-winded yapping, but essentially, best case scenario, you're just naive. You had the best intentions, but the end result is you ended up with a bunch of free art. Like, you can have good intentions and still, end up with a result that's a bit similar to, like, people with not as great intentions. Also, another thing to add is every time people say the contest was hosted to give smaller artists reach. Translation: this contest was hosted to give artists exposure. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe you're very, like, in the nicest way possible, a bit deluded in, like, the way contests work. A lot of people maybe have a good intention of, like, oh, if I host a contest, it can give small people reach, whatever. The reality is it doesn't work that way. They don't get that much exposure, if any at all, and the exposure doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't feed them. It doesn't keep the lights on in their home. So maybe there are very good intention in thinking that they could give more exposure. It doesn't work out that way in art contests, rarely. Unless you're some, like, giga huge, like, creator or something, million followers, BB no money type stuff hosting a contest. Okay, like, then we could argue maybe BB No Money's exposure, he still pays his artists, right? But maybe we could make an argument there, unless you're, like, millions of followers type stuff. And even then, exposure doesn't really work. And again, even then, pay your artist fairly. Exposure is not payment. So they could just be very, 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 like, well-intentioned and executed poorly. And Auk added clarification to the people who said she didn't get a chance to respond. Here is her DM response to my initial ask to remove the art. Should I have been waiting for a follow-up to her own response? She never responded to the link portion. The answer revoking art was answered. After the response from Euphoria, 13 minutes later, Auk followed up asking for a link. And also, to add more context, what was the usage of the artwork that made Auk upset? It was Euphoria's Twitch page, where Auk's artwork was used as the banner, as you can see here. It was used since July when they submitted. So there's 2 months of no credit and art usage. Where you can see in the credits, September 10th, 2025. Here's the credits. There's no banner credit. And then here is a full Google Doc with a list of credits, right? And some people might be like, well, that's not fair. You should put all the credits easy to find. A lot of VTubers and stuff, they have a ton of artwork, so it's hard to credit all in, like, one panel. They'll make a Google Doc. That's fair. There is also no credit given. And then the screenshot was taken at 9:03 p.m. September 10th, 2025. And according to Euphoria, it's credited in the actual credit section, September 11th. Now we have another instance of, like, oh, this isn't doing great, you know? Like, I'm giving you a lot of benefit of doubt at this point because they made the statement being like, well, I've seen how other art contests went and I don't want to do that because I know there's going to be lots of eyes on me. Uses art without credit for months. Again, maybe they're really naive and this is their first time hosting an art contest, so they didn't know. Up to you what you believe, right? So then the same day, the creator had posted, I will never be hosting another art contest after this one. I forgot how bad the rotten apples of the bunch ruined the fun things for everyone else. Submissions closed. I will eventually get to everything. Please read the rules on someone's post, site, etc. before joining one. And a commenter replied, I don't think I'd take it as a point of discouragement for hosting contests. Continue to host them if you want. But from scrolling through, I couldn't find your site with full rules. Also, I'm curious as to why the no revoking rule existed in the first place. And they responded, my card is currently unavailable because I was adding all the submissions, hence why it's not on my profile. I despise drama and this fear feeds on it. This is enough for me to say no more. And the no revoking rule was created to avoid folks from running and dipping. I want to support smaller artists and allow them exposure. I've seen this issue in the past and I want to nip it right away. I don't expect artists to give full rights, just enough to show off their art. And the commenter replied, I understand what you mean. In some cases, it's absolutely people drama firing and 100% valid to avoid it. But I think in this case, it was poorly communicated and could be a learning experience. I've only worked with Awk once, but they're definitely kind and communicative from my experience and just seem wary. Nonetheless, as I said, I genuinely mean no hate. I don't think you had any ill intent. Contests are just a tricky thing to handle. All the best. I always think like language choice is very interesting. They kind of have a very like, the haters are ruining it for me, the bad people are ruining it. I despise all this like drama and this, that, and the third. It's interesting because I do think it's kind of like a whole like everyone's ruining it for me, the haters are ruining it for me type thing. Maybe there's some stuff that like wasn't publicly visible. Maybe it's like folded in the replies and stuff like that. But I mean, it kind of just seems like Awk's concern was quite genuine and like a, hey, you've been using my art for free for 2 months. I don't really quite like that. Like, can I just revoke my artwork? You already got 2 months of free usage out of it. You know, like it seemed to be a genuine conversation point that could have easily been resolved. And it didn't feel like they were coming at a place of like guns blazing, I hate you. So the doc continues, the contest was supposedly to uplift artists by giving them exposure through showcasing all art in a stream with credit and posting all art with credit on her card. That doesn't exist. By using the art and crediting artist, we see how she didn't credit me at all, so I wasn't uplifted or given exposure. If you don't need the art, why make the contest about drawing your OC and not just any art? Fast forward to October 2025, there was radio silence. She continued to stream and be active on Twitter regularly, but nothing about the contest. So this is now in like early October. Somebody makes a question about the contest on a contest entry, and she replies stating everything will be finalized next weekend. And it was a reply to one person, not a public announcement. The weekend of October 11th passes, and on October 14th, it's been over a month with no updates. Unfortunately, Euphoria had come forward talking about their father being diagnosed with cancer back in June and July. Awk on October 20th posted, when you host an art contest to uplift small artists, get a bunch of free art, then ghost and don't pay or update participants after a month. The contest ended September 10th. Please support those who partook in the contest. They deserve some recognition. And Awk adds, hopefully this contest isn't forgotten and artists are paid. Another artist, Nora, writes, unfortunately, I got burnt out after this contest. This was my entry and it's no longer on social media. As far as I see, all the people who did art contests, they normally announce the winners, then use the art for scheduling picks. This is the artwork. This art is so beautiful. Oh my lord. And Awk adds, your piece is amazing and it's a shame it's not being appreciated like it should be. Hopefully your burnout isn't too long because dang, it's good. And then same day, Awk quote retweeted it writing, I've been informed she finally picked the winners. Interesting, she didn't have time to post any updates, but suddenly when called out, she could announce winners instantly. Happy artists are getting paid, hopefully. We'll also be waiting for the website with all artists linked and credited as noted that her card site will show. And then Nora, remember the artist from the previous post, added, was there any other call-out post besides this? Imagine you want to get an announcement about the art contest and being called clout and clicks or fake accounts. This was peeing me off because I was the only one who commented. And this was a post where they wrote, please continue to make fake accounts to call me a scammer. All you want is clout and clicks. And Awk added, I have no clue if anyone else made a post. I made a post because artists deserve their dues and over a month is too long for not a single update. This is what I mean by like wording, because maybe I'm reading too much into it, but when it looks like somebody is fighting invisible demons online, it's always a little like, I wonder where they're coming from because I'm not seeing anything. Maybe there's somebody in your email. And then it continues. Immediately after this post is made, within the hour, she makes a post announcing the winners. The post was supposedly typed up and ready to send over the weekend, yet no announcements were made beforehand. Also, I mean, if it's true that I was typed out and ready to send, like, why not send it? Because the contest ended a month ago, over a month ago at this point. People were waiting for the announcement, their prizing. The doc continues, my skepticism comes into play with my follow-up stating that after being called out, she could instantly find time to announce the winners. Curious why she couldn't update when she had plenty of time to stream, tweet, repost, and reply on Twitter. And within 24 hours, the winner announcement post was deleted. She claimed it was due to harassment and death threats. However, the only comments on her post were her own. See the images. So the three winners are A Siege of Stars, Narala, and Ewan Lauren. So we can see the artwork here. This is A Siege of Stars artwork, gorgeous. This one is Narala's artwork, and this one is Ewan's art. And these, according to the screenshots, apparently were the only comments under the post, and it's been deleted, so there's no way for me to verify this. But Euphoria added, for those who have won, I'm publicly stating, again, my father isn't doing well. Please respect such, since two specific people cannot stop harassing me. Ock and who's the other one? And yes, there will never be another contest held by me. Don't worry, you got your clicks. Go feed off someone else. So since people want to start shit like always, please respect the words I say. My father has cancer. This has changed things. I was announcing the winners this weekend. Post has been typed up for a while. If you've had a family member degrade due to cancer, you know how hard it is to get up every morning and pray they wake up too. I've kept this off social media since it's not necessary to know. But please continue to make fake accounts and call me a scammer. All you want is clout and clicks. And the doc reads, if there was harassment in DMs, we won't know. However, there was no reason to delete the post itself since nothing was there. She also deleted the original art contest post. You can still find a second post, but it looks like she may have tried to delete evidence of the art contest existing, as there's no reason to delete the original post. So again, another screenshot. So Ock added, I contacted the winners to ask if they've actually been paid. The winners were not paid and were told that they would be paid eventually without a date given or when to expect payment, if any. Top portion redacted due to private info, and it reads, thank you so much for your time. I will follow up soon to ascertain the status of payment. Thank you again so much for helping us artists out. So the doc adds present time. No artist paid for their hard work, no stream showcasing all the art and credit, no card site with all entries shown and credited, or proof of the site existing at all. No artists are credited for their work. She is using a contestant's entry as a profile photo and they are not credited. And A Siege of Stars has pins. Please do not repost my work. Profile photos or banners are alright if given proper credit, but do not repost my work to other social media platforms. Thank you. Other things to note. Her father's condition is claimed to be the reason behind her not being on top of things. However, it has not prevented her from streaming, being active on Twitter, and getting commissions. It seems the only thing it has impaired is her ability to follow through with the art contest and uphold her responsibility. She has gotten commissions after the contest ended, when the money could have been set aside for the contest, through commissions on October 3rd, September 19th, October 2nd, October 3rd, and more. There were over 5 months to have the money set aside and ready to give to the winners. Again, because the contest started May 24th. We are now on November 7th. And I don't know, maybe this is something that like I don't understand, but like I would imagine if you were to host a contest, and I've hosted contests before, right? If you have a financial prize pool that you actually have access to the money, right? Like if your prize pool is $500, please host the contest when you actually have $500 to use as a prize pool. Otherwise, don't do it. Right? Because then you have no way of guaranteeing you're going to pay the winners. It could be potentially believable if there was an unfortunate circumstance that you could not predict that happened where you then needed to expend the money you set aside for something that is an emergency. And I'm sure everybody would be very understanding about that. But if it is true that a lot of art commissions were purchased from when the contest started till when it was ended, September 10th, then you don't really have an excuse. Because artwork is a luxury. So you spent the money that should have been used for a prize pool on luxury spending, essentially. It's just a bit disrespectful to those who entered. And the doc reads, no update on the art contest for contestants. If she knew it would affect winners, money, or anything else, this would be the announcement to let people know. Cancer sucks, and if her father has it, that sucks. But that is no excuse to not uphold your responsibilities to people, or at the very least, communicate with them. The timing feels coincidental, to say the least. Within the hour of my call-out post, she posted the winner announcement. So no updates on anything, but conveniently, she can produce it right when called out. Her definition of harassment is a little funky. Someone tweeted a congratulations to one of the contest winners, where somebody, I guess, tweeted congratulations to first place, and it looks like Euphoria had responded, and this maybe it could be a wrong order of tweets, but they responded, genuinely not sure why you're harassing every winner. I've contacted all 3 of them. Please stop harassing me and them. Thank you. The commenter said, I don't harass them. I congratulated them, liked, reposted art, and followed them. And Euphoria replied, this is clearly harassment from other events. I urge you to find factual information other than one-sided assuming everything. Who knew, and the doc reads, who knew congratulating somebody for winning was categorized as harassment? It's almost as bad as talking about cereal in chat. And the conclusion, this contest was fishy and a scam. Artists have not been uplifted and have not been paid. This person received free art, used it without credit, and hid under a facade of uplifting the community. Forcing people to do the right thing shouldn't have to be a thing. Just because you're forced to do the right thing doesn't mean you're no longer a scammer. You tried, you just didn't get away with it. Hopefully artists will be paid when the eventual date comes. And here's the November update and the list of excuses that were provided. 1. I cannot pay due to my father being sick. Another one, I cannot pay due to my personal information being leaked. Where it reads, she will have to figure out how to hide her identity first through the pay service before going to ensure her privacy. I find the situation of the hiding the name thing a little hard to believe. So we have this post from Brandon, and this was actually commented under Ock's original post, the one that went viral. Brandon writes, I'm sorry you suffered a similar situation to me. I did as she asked and made content for her in quick fashion and had to wait 3 months to be paid. And she refused to pay late fees. Does not surprise me at all. Other people are upset because I had to deal with this for ages. So this is September 2nd, 2025. So I believe the posts are actually supposed to be read in this order. But here it starts August 28th. Brandon says, any updates? August 30th, any updates? August 31st, any updates? September 1st, any updates? September 2nd. If I don't get a response nor my funds by the end of this week, I will be publicly blacklisting you from other editors and making an announcement that you've chosen to ignore my feeds and messages. And look, conveniently, 3 minutes later, Euphoria can respond. Unfortunately, I don't have any updates. I've told you the issue. If I did, I'd tell you. Go ahead and have people blacklist me. You're a portion of the problem within the online community, ready to go public over stuff somebody can't control. Brandon says, how am I being a problem when I've been nothing but kind and patient? Waited over 10 weeks for my money. I shouldn't have been waiting for it in the first place. Euphoria says, over what I cannot control. That's the problem. Brandon said, you should not be reaching out or hiring somebody if your way of payment is corrupted. How would you feel having to wait almost 3 months for a check? And then in response to what they can't control, Brandon said, you can control it. Euphoria says, I can't. Brandon says, I've given you the option of using different apps. You chose not to because of previous experiences. And Euphoria says, I'll happily pay $60. No late fees for using a different app and risking my banking info if it gets this issue resolved. The late fees weren't in your TOS when we first started working together. We can part ways after this. Which, by the way, I find this really, really ironic that Euphoria is really upset that Brandon is changing the TOS midway through the project of them working together when she basically was trying to do the exact same thing to Aquito, right? Like, okay, so why are you allowed to like suddenly sneak in a no revoke into a non-existent website? But Brandon, after not getting payment from you for 10 weeks. That's like almost 3 months. Euphoria says, please let me know ASAP, as I must sleep soon for work. Then I will not be able to reply as frequently. Brandon says, the late fee started because of this, and this isn't the first time I had to wait. I'm no different from other artists or editors who should add late fees, because having to wait 10 weeks is respectfully ridiculous, regardless of reason. And Euphoria adds, currently, that is the compromise I'll make to pay you. I've never had issues with other artists or editors who have been extremely understanding with my issue. May I have your Venmo? So I feel really bad for Brandon that they had to wait 10 weeks for payment. But also, this is my second thing, right? Where Euphoria says, I have never had issues with other artists or editors who've been extremely understanding with my issue. So you know you have an issue in paying people online, right? You can't get this much benefit of doubt. There's no way. We can cut you a lot of slack, but at this point, it's not adding up, right? So you know that you really struggle to pay people on time. Right before your contest ended, on September 2nd, you had another issue with this editor who you didn't pay for 10 weeks because you had issues with online payments. And like, as they've said in DMs, historically, apparently, they've had experiences with artists and editors where they also had issues with online payment. Like, if you are having this many problems with online payment, why continue to do things that involve online payments when you don't know if you can guarantee a payment to the person? And that's what I mean here by this excuse, where apparently she couldn't pay due to personal information being leaked, where she's trying to hide her identity through the pay service. Like, again, we could cut you some slack if you've never done an online payment before. You assume PayPal would be fine, and then you found out it would reveal your name, and now you're like, oh shoot, I don't know what to do. But that's not the case because you've paid people online before. So you must have known there is this problem. So another excuse, I cannot pay due to the winner having payment location issues. Sorry, my big cat is locked in here with me because I can't keep the cats together because my little cat got his ball snipped today. After contacting winners, all winners use PayPal and shouldn't have location issues. Another one, I can't pay due to PayPal blocking my account. It reads, suddenly she sent me a photo that her PayPal is temporarily blocked. How did that happen? Is a list of things compiled by Ock that were purchased between September and October. There's a long list, and then it reads, at this point she removed a character tag to try and hide more commissions she's gotten. Proof below. Sometime between November 2nd and 4th when I started exposing all the commissions she's bought. It totals up to $711.45. Look, normally I'm not really always a fan of like looking at how somebody spends their money because like, you know, people have reasons for what they buy things. But if you owe a bunch of people money for a contest that you hosted, right? You hosted this. It wasn't like an accidental situation where something like out of your control happened. You chose to host an art contest. You chose to extend the art contest. You set the prize pool. And then through the window between 2 months, September and October, you spent $711.45 on commissions. That is your money, your prerogative. You can spend your money on whatever you want after you pay the people you owe. Also, there is a prism model, and she claims she was gifted the prism model. However, it doesn't thank the gifter on her original post, and the gifter states it was through Throne. There's no proof on the Throne. And then they changed the story. And the doc reads, notice the time of both their excuses. It matches up perfectly. She just suddenly decided to thank the gifter at this arbitrary time right after the comments. So here the gifter on November 2nd that they purchased the model and it was on Throne. Then Ock was like, where is it? And then the account on November 3rd said she removed it from her Throne when I sent her the funds on another platform. Conveniently, the gifter was suspect of Throne and they sent the money elsewhere. This is what I'm confused about too, because like, why did the gifter then say it was on Throne, right? Like the truth is stranger than fiction. Maybe the gifter really just got like a little bit confuddled about this, but like, why not just say, oh, I just PayPal her the money for it. Oh wait, you can't say that because apparently her PayPal is supposed to be blocked. And then look, dude, what are the odds, man? 5:48 a.m. November 3rd, the gifter is like, I gifted it to her. 5 minutes later, she posts, I'm so happy you guys like my customization. Thank you to the kind soul who gifted me the model. And then here are proof of commissions she's gotten October 1st, commission October 1st, October 22nd, oh, November 3rd. She deleted her character Miwa on VGen to try and hide evidence of further commissions. Please see how the same commission had her character tagged and now it's gone. So here you can see a character Miwa was tagged. Now it's untagged. More commissions. I don't know, man. I'm curious about your thoughts about all of this. And again, sorry for my cat. He really wants to be with my little cat, but like, I don't want him licking the incision wound day one. You know, because it's always like I want to believe you. I really do. Like, I personally feel like I'm not getting enough resources to believe you at this point. Because, like, I feel like it's always a little bit suspect if somebody comes swinging out the gate, like, oh my God, everyone's out for me. I'm a victim. Woo. And there's really like no examples of it. Like the main one was just, hey man, you used my art for 2 months without telling me and without giving me the credit you said you would give me. So can I like get my art back? And you were like, tripping over that and then continuing to fight invisible demons the entire time. We can extend benefit of doubt to like, this is your first art contest, you've never hosted one before, like this is your first time, you're just like learning the ropes, maybe like your PayPal bugged. But like, okay. I exchanged one cat for another cat. Oh, the poor guy. But yeah, right? Like, I feel like only so much benefit of doubt could be extended before you reach a point where it's kind of like, hey man, maybe let's stop buying commissions and actually pay the people you owe money. Don't send hate to any parties involved. Don't do that. I'm covering this because like so many of you guys actually DM'd me about this story. So I was like, well, you know, let's take a peep at this. And I get my wisdom teeth taken out tomorrow. So we're cooking. And my cat lost his nuts today. So it's gonna be a chaotic household. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. I'll have all the artists linked down below so you can go show them some support because their art is beautiful. And it kind of sucks that none of them received payment, especially the top 3 who like were supposed to win the money, right? Anyways, if you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have digital art there for streamers and creators. I also have a coffee with free resources like a free sponsorship guide. And I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. All right, see you guys in my Twitch stream or in another video. Peace.